Welcome to another one of these videos in which I ride a bicycle and do a commentary over it. Haven't scripted this commentary at all, so we're just going to roll with the punches and see what happens. But one of my more popular cycling videos that I've done on this, my second channel, is me showing how dangerous the roads are around where I live. And a lot of people were mortified when they heard that I commute to work along pretty much the same route. So I thought I'd just show what my commute sort of looks like, and I guess it's not to reassure anyone or also to brag about how dangerous my life is and all that. It's just thought I'd make a video. Don't know if people would find it interesting, or if you're a bike commuter somewhere in the United Kingdom or anywhere else in the world, how does it compare to your route? That's basically the gist of this video. Now, I have cropped off the beginning because I don't want to dox myself, but I'm starting along on this road here. It runs next to a cemetery, which is a really good omen for the beginning of a bike ride. Now, worry not, I'm not going to subject you to real time the entire way to work because A, it's all uphill, so I'm not going to be that fast. As you can see from my front tire, this is a mountain bike, so it's not a particularly quick machine, and I'm not exactly the most aerodynamic of people, so again, there's a few things inhibiting my speed. So we're going to skip ahead a little bit to this part here. Now, in my Plymouth is Dangerous video, I said that this bit's really good because you can turn left and go into this park just here, but I like turning right and going up this hill because then it's a bit more of a workout, get a bit more exercise in, and then when you get to the top of the hill, there's a really big long downhill, so you can get lots of speed up, so it makes the next uphill a bit easier. Just bear with me, nearly at the top, there we are. Anyway, we turn left of that mini roundabout and come careering down and get lots of speed up on this road as we go up this gradual uphill. The GoPro makes this look like it's a flat surface, but actually this is a pretty steady uphill. And the cycle path on the left sucks because I can't get to the cycle path from the main road, and then the cycle path just ends later on. So it's not a very good cycle path. You know, drivers say, why don't cyclists use it? Well, there's no way of getting on that cycle path from the road unless you come to a complete dead stop on the road, which is not very safe. So this is why I don't use that cycle path. Anyway, the cycle path is long gone. We get to a junction, and there are no cars queued up. Never mind, a car had to get past me, and then I had to go past him again because he couldn't get through in the traffic, and I could have. I just hate it when cars do that. Like, he gained nothing from passing me at that last second, but just a mild annoyance. I feel like there's a real attitude that cars feel they just have to get past a cyclist because they just see the cyclist and have this visceral need to pass them, even though they're only going to then get stopped at a red light and then actually hold the cyclist up. It's just one of those little things, I guess. And then we get to the big main road, which was horrible in the Plymouth is Dangerous video. It's still pretty horrible, but it's not as bad because, as you can see, the traffic is going very, very slowly. So I feel like I can keep pace with the traffic fairly easily. In fact, now I'm actually going to start, undertaking them, which is legal and actually part of the highway code. If a car wants to turn left here, like this VW, I guess, then they would have to give way to me, basically. I never assume they will because I don't want to die. Because if they decide to not give way to me, they will then win that fight. So you kind of have to, ride defensively, but, technically I have right of way if going on the underside of cars like that. And then we get to the main overpass and look at this traffic. This is why I love cycling to work. Even though it's dangerous and a bit, sometimes if it's a bit windy and cold, I'd rather just be in a hot car. But then I just see this traffic here and feel completely vindicated. Like, I've got a friend that lives very close to me, and I'll sometimes run into him driving on this same road whilst I'm on a bike. At this moment, so far, he's yet to beat me to work. Because even though I'm going uphill, again, on a horrible slow mountain bike, and I'm not a particularly fast bike rider anyway, just the fact that the traffic is just so slow. And this is, I don't know if you kind of noticed the quality of the road surface up until this point, by the way, but there is a very good reason why I ride a hardtail mountain bike to work. Because, well, first of all, I like the upright, relaxed position for a commuter bike, but also, I've got a gravel bike, but it's basically like a road bike. But the road surface is just so bad and rough and bumpy that, it's just better to use a hardtail mountain bike. And, And yeah, so this bit's a bit of a nightmare, isn't it? It's a bit of a pinch point. And look, the cycle lane ends right where the road gets really, really squeezed and busy. And it's at the crest of a hill, which is really steep. So you're going to be not going your fastest anyway. Terrible. And it adds insult to injury that there's that stupid stony thing on the left that could very easily be a cycle lane, but isn't. I know there's now a wall here, but as you can see in a second on the left, it's just a grassy verge there. The wall could have easily just been moved back like 2 feet or so to accommodate even a painted cycle lane is better than nothing. So yeah, whatever. Anyway, now we're coming up to a red light, so I'm taking the lane here. I'm taking the center so no one can dangerously overtake me, only to then, you know, get stuck in front of me. Again, in the highway code, cyclists can do this, so if anyone says this is not legal, that would be incorrect, at least for the United Kingdom. I can't imagine any country where that would be illegal, but just in case there is a country that's like that, then now there's me covering myself. And now I'm just sort of stuck behind this bus. I guess it's kind of nice because I can sit in the bus's slipstream, so I don't get too much wind going in me. And then, yeah, just getting stuck behind some cars. You know, they say cyclists hold cars up. Usually for me, not the case. Usually I'm the one stuck behind cars. So, here's me. I'm trying to just sort of cross the road here, and then, oh, those cars were stuck behind a cyclist. Okay, that point, not a great one, I concede. But I mean, look, I've dropped it down to real-time speed. You can see we're going pretty much the same pace as all the other traffic, so don't know if he really was holding up traffic, but regardless, now it comes to one of those stupid crossings that I hate, where we now have to stop and just give way to any important cars. Luckily, there were none coming, so I crossed, and oh yes, there's something quite satisfying. I'm obviously not the fittest person, and I'm on a mountain bike, and that guy, he was wearing his Lycra. I'm not wearing Lycra, and he's on a road bike, so I'm like, yes, I'm going to go for it. And it was very ambitious of me to do it at that moment, because now we're coming to one of the steepest hills of the whole ride. So, but I was determined, I was steadfast. We're going to say, let's try and keep ahead of him. And no, he put me in my place towards the top of the hill. But I take it as a, well, he's got a faster bike than me. I take it, you've got to take the small victories where you can. I don't know. Anyway, we're pretty much on the last leg of the commute. We've just got this last little downhill to go. That car, they're clearly very desperate to get in front of that cyclist just to get in the McDonald's drive-through queue, I suppose. And then I was hoping I could get past this bus before it pulled out, but I couldn't. And then I was kind of in this awkward little chute where I was squished between the curbside and the bus. And this is a big reason why we need segregated cycling infrastructure, and not in the sense that Plymouth City Council build it, where you can see on the pavement, or sidewalk if you're an American, there's those cycle lanes there, but they're rubbish because you have to yield at every single junction, and it's very, very slow. And look, there's just signage in it as well. Signage for cars, by the way, not for bikes. So yeah, it's great for nervous cyclists or people just trying to get into the sport, but trying to use a bike to commute on and get to work in the most efficient way possible, they suck. And very few cyclists actually use them. But I guess it is better than nothing, and cyclists do have a small painted gutter on the road should you want to try and have a commute that's of similar convenience to a car's commute. Here I'm crossing the road because there's a little cycle network in the middle of this roundabout, which is actually really nice. It sort of bypasses this horrible steep roundabout, and look at that, there was a green crossing just timed really, really well. And I can join the road here and then go into the hospital where I work, and at this point I'm probably going to have to just blur everything, I guess, because, you know, there might be patients and stuff visible and confidentiality and all that stuff. So I'm going to just cut ahead to here's me parking my bike, and then we'll fast forward 9.5 hours to the journey home. What a crossfade that was there. So this is probably like 20 to 6 probably at this time. Oh, by the way, I should probably just specify that I set off in the morning at about maybe 7:30, I want to say. Something like that was probably when I set off. We're just going to sort of cut through the exit through the hospital in case there are any pedestrians with faces visible walking along. But now we're on a public road, so I felt like now was a safe time to resume the recording. These cars are very desperate to get past me and then not get anywhere fast, which it's just a thing I'm used to, I guess. I just cross-faded there because then I came to a big group where there were lots of pedestrians moving around, and I don't know if they're patients or not, so I decided to just cut through. So this part here, there's a little sort of cut through here that cyclists, according to the Plymouth cycling map, you're allowed to use as a cyclist, so I'm going to go ahead and use it because it cuts out a hugely dangerous intersection that takes place on a very steep hill. So it's not a very safe place for cyclists, especially because there's no cycle lane or space on the pavement for a cyclist to use. I know I said this earlier, but just to clarify, in the UK we call the sidewalks, we call those pavements, and we call the roads. just in case just to clarify a kind of local terminology there that might confuse people that don't use the same terminology in their mother tongue. Don't know. Anyway, this is the alleyway here. Now, obviously, this is a shared path, so I'm going very slowly, just being very mindful that someone could be coming in the way, and I'll stop or give way to them if they are, because I realise I'm on a bike, and it's kind of my responsibility as the heavier, faster vehicle to make sure that I'm not putting anyone else in danger. Anyway, I've got a nice green light ahead that we can just fly through, and even though we're on an uphill now, it's a great feeling passing all these cars stuck in traffic whilst I'm getting in my exercise and my fresh air as well. I know, technically I'm breathing in quite a bit of fumes, and so I guess that's not really that great, but it's still fresh air and it's enjoyable. I enjoy my commute. I can't say I ever enjoyed commuting when I drove my car or when I drive my car. I don't commute in like gale force winds, but I've only had to like ditch the bike, I think once in my entire life cycling to work. So I've got a pretty good track record, and hey, I overtook an Aston Martin. It's always very satisfying to overtake expensive, fast sports cars on a bike powered by whiskey and pizza. Got a nice, fast downhill segment now, which is kind of spoiled by the fact that, first of all, a lot of cars will want to turn left here, and even though I have right of way, like basically doing what this van's doing, I have right of way, a lot of them won't. They'll just cross right in front of you. That van did nothing wrong, by the way. There was plenty of space. I'm just saying that the path that van took. And then you kind of have to stop there to cross and give way to any cars coming in. Do you see that car ahead? He just drifted right into the cycle lane as he cut that corner. Granted, again, no harm came of that because there was no cyclist there. But I've literally had to yell as a car has nearly hit me as I'm in that cycle lane. They've just come careening past, cutting the corner. Horrible. And speaking of horrible, who remembers this gem from the Plymouth is Dangerous video? Yes, this is a 40-mile-an-hour road. The cycle lane just ends and chucks you right into it. So you have to go super duper fast and hope the benevolence of some car will just allow you to, not get squashed as you merge. I know I've been kind of downplaying my speed and all that, but I think on average I am pretty quick on this mountain bike because it's a 29er. It's a 29er bike, so 29er mountain bikes, they are quicker than the standard, I guess 27.5 is what a lot of people have, or 26-inch mountain bikes. And I run the tyre pressures really high, and I have fast rolling tyres. I use the Maxxis Ardent Race, which are basically, they're like gravel tyres almost, really. So it's I've got this thing set up to go pretty fast. And then we get to pretty fast downhill, so I can get a lots of speed again. Ready for this uphill, and again, great validation moment where, there's I can just get past all the traffic again. And that's it, actually. I could just get past all the traffic again. So actually, the traffic started moving as I was getting to this hill, but then I can squeeze past. And again, this is perfectly legal in the United Kingdom. I am very well aware that it's not legal to do this in some countries, a non-zero number of countries. I don't know if it's a majority or a minority, but I know this isn't always legal, but it is legal in the UK, and it's in the highway code, so it's definitely, I've not just made this up. And yes, get sail through the green light before the red hits, and we can just get past all of these cars. Look at this. It's just, it's hard. It's a hard feeling to explain. I'm hoping maybe you getting to experience this in the form of the video kind of helps you to sort of feel this feeling of just getting past all the other cars. It's great. It's great. It's makes you feel very smug, and then get past everyone again. I really hate how that cycle lane ends, by the way, just to accommodate parked cars. Like, there's no cycle lane. The road is actively more dangerous for cyclists, purely so people can store their private property on a public roadway. That's it. That's the only reason it's there. So that's kind of deeply annoying. Now, oftentimes I'll turn left at the junction I just went through because that is technically the faster way, but it was quite a nice evening, and I thought, well, I'll go there. I'm recording a video for YouTube. I'll go the scenic way home. So I'm going along this road here. It's actually a very gradual down. Well, this bit's a bit of an uphill, but the overall gradient is downhill. So I can actually keep pace with the cars pretty well because there's a few speed cameras here, and the speed limit is 30. So I can pretty safely maintain a speed of like 26 to 30 miles an hour, I think. So, I mean, whenever I don't actually know, I'm not going to speed on my bike, but whenever I do it, the car that's on the right-hand side of me, they generally don't overtake me anywhere that fast. So I think I must do a speed that's pretty close to the speed limit, at least on the down bits. I think for that uphill crest that goes under the pedestrian footbridge, Probably slow down a bit, but not by much. Anyway, then I can go here, and there's a little no entry here, but I don't know if it's going to show up in the video too well, so I'm going to just draw attention to it now. It does say except for cycles on that no entry sign, so I haven't just broken the law coming this way. And there's a little cycle path that goes past this football stadium. So yeah, Americans, I don't know if any other country's guilty of this, but I see pictures of your stadiums, and it's literally a stadium sat in a sea of concrete. Like, the parking lot is like 5 times the size of the stadium. Luckily, that's a fairly uncommon practice in the United Kingdom. Like, the car parks are still pretty big, but they're not obscene like the ones you see in, the United States or Canada, I guess, as well. Because, a lot of people walk to this area. Look where it is. It's in the middle of this big park. People can walk here really easily. There's some good bus routes nearby. It's just much more friendly for, not relying on a car to get anywhere. And then I'm in this park, which is a really great park, as I mentioned in my Plymouth is Dangerous video, because it has these nice, big, wide paths that are obviously not used by cars at all, and they actually go to useful places. They don't just wiggle around going nowhere. So you can use this as a cut through to kind of as a commuting route, I suppose, just like I am here. Haven't scripted this video, as you might be able to tell. This is I feel like I'm harking back very much to my Planet Coaster days, where I just sit there and ramble over me just building a log for 10 hours, Okay, so here I am in the park. It's a really nice park. This is Central Park in Plymouth, and it's got some really good routes. It's a shame that I don't really benefit from any of the cycle routes going through the park, but I know a lot of people do, presumably like the person in front of me here. So, yeah, Central Park's a really good place where pedestrians and cyclists can get across Plymouth without having to worry about encountering cars. Now, I'm actually going a different way to what would probably be the best possible way. I'm joining a road here, so I can go up this big steep hill here. There is actually a path in the park that runs basically completely parallel to this road here, but it's pitch black, and it's full of dog walkers and children and pedestrians and stuff. It gets very crowded, and I get very paranoid when I can't see the ground too well, which is, even though I've got a really bright LED, you can't really see the ground too well, and I get very paranoid about running over like dog muck and stuff and flicking it, you know what I mean? And it's a busy path, which I'm very understanding of. Not that entitled that I expect everyone to clear the path for cyclists, but I just find it's easier to use the road here because it's just, I can go quicker. I'm going to worry about running over a small child that I couldn't see too well, and it's just a bit more pleasant not being plunged into pitch darkness. Not so great that I have to share it with other cars, which they share it with me. This guy nearly ran into me. Don't know what he was doing there. And yeah, then I can I'm on the home stretch now, so I guess I can start wrapping up my final thoughts to this video. And don't know, I don't like it. Was this an interesting video? I'm not really sure what else I can really do for city commuting in Plymouth. I know channels like Shifter, which is a great channel, by the way. My goodness. In fact, I'm reading his book, Frostbike. It's very good. If you like that sort of thing, that is the sort of thing you'll like. It's about winter cycling in Canada. Great book. I've nearly finished it. So Tom, if you're watching, which probably not, it's a good book. Great. Good stuff. Yeah, but I don't really have any thoughts about this. I know Shifter's done lots of videos on urban commuting in Canada, but I don't really have that much to say. I just cycle to and from work. I found some things that work for me, and I feel like everyone's mileage will probably vary. I've had good success with a pannier rack system, and yeah, that's it. But yeah, I just feel like if you have a commute that's sort of similar length to this, so admittedly it's not a particularly long route, a long commute I should say, but it's just done wonders for my mental health, like not getting stuck in traffic every day. Getting stuck in traffic is the worst. It's soul crushing, and I get a lot of exercise in it. Like, I'm much fitter than I was before I started cycle commuting. So there you go. There's if you can do it, it would be my wholehearted recommendation. And a lot of workplaces, well, bigger workplaces, might have, cycle share schemes, things like that. So it's always something you could look into. Anyway, here's me looking at my bike. That's pretty much the video wrapped up. I hope you enjoyed whatever it was. Probably do another mountain bike, like off-road video soon when the weather calms down a bit in the UK. We're having a lot of storms at the moment. And that's it. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.